Hey guys, it's Miss Carrie with you on this beautiful Friday to talk to you about some cool facts about snakes. Some of you that have known me for a while know they're not particularly my favorite, but I know that a lot of you guys really like learning about snakes and that they're really cool. I think they're cool too, but just I don't have to see them. So today I'll be sharing with you some of our cool books about snakes and some cool facts about them. So this first book I'm going to share is Fly Guy Presents Snakes. So snakes are reptiles, just like lizards, turtles, and crocodiles are reptiles. So all reptiles have scaly skin, lungs for breathing, and they have backbones. And they're also called ectotherms, which is a big word that basically means they can't create their own body heat. So they need to sit in the sun to get warm. You know, our body, sometimes we don't have to be in the sun to get warm. Like we're warm-blooded, so snakes are cold-blooded, so they need light to get warm. So, this particular snake in this picture is called a red-tailed rat snake. So the scales protect a snake's body and help it move. And they're also made of keratin, which is the same stuff that our fingernails are made out of. Isn't that neat? So some snake scales grip the ground like treads on your tire. So the muscles help them slither forward. Like this snake right here is called a sidewinder. So it looks like they're moving sideways across the sand. Another neat thing about snakes is that they can shed their skin, which is really cool. Have you ever seen a snake skin? I have. I've seen one in person, like out in the wild, like not at a zoo or at a special program. So as the snake grows, it sheds its skin. So it sheds all of its scales, even those covering its eyes. The new skin underneath looks bright and shiny. So many snakes use the color and texture of their scaly skin to make it harder for other animals to see them. So that's also called camouflage. So there are over 3,000 kinds of snakes in the world. And snakes live on every continent except Antarctica. Remember last week when we were talking about rabbits and we said that rabbits can be found on every continent except Antarctica? Snakes are the same way, so they can't survive there because of how cold it is. They need sunlight. So we'll put that book aside for a moment. And another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is how some snakes, like we talked about with Kraft yesterday, are called venomous, and some are called non-venomous. Now, venomous is just a big word that means that they have venom in their fangs, so that if they were to bite you, the venom would get in your skin and it could really hurt you, and it could even cause you to possibly die if you don't get what's called anti-venom. And anti-venom is a wonderful substance that is made by taking the venom of the snake and creating something to counteract that venom. So you can get anti-venom to save your life from the snake bite. And here's another cool fact. So Riverbank Zoo, that's in South Carolina, they have anti-venom. So in an article I read, there was a man that was bitten by a snake in North Carolina. Riverbank Zoo sent the anti-venom to save his life. Isn't that really neat? So that the snakes that live at the zoo, they have a purpose too. If they're venomous, they can give the zookeepers can get their venom and use it to save other people's lives. So another type is called non-venomous. So non means not venomous. So that means that if they bit you, it might hurt and it might leave a mark, but it's not going to really hurt you like the venomous kind. Now, here's a safety tip. You don't know if a snake is venomous or non-venomous just by looking at it. So my tip is, if you see a snake out in the wild, don't mess with it or try to touch it or pick it up, because that would cause the snake to get upset and scared, and that's when they might bite. So it's always a good idea to leave them alone and let them go about their way. And snakes are also really good about keeping down like pests, like bugs. They eat bugs, and like even rats and mice. So they can sometimes keep that down too. But here's another cool story I'm going to share with you. It's one of my favorite stories that my grandparents have told me. So before I was born, this, I guess it happened in maybe the 70s or 80s. So my grandparents live out in the country, so they sometimes see snakes. Well, one day, a king snake, which is a non-venomous snake, so he's a good guy to have around your house, he came across a water moccasin, which is also called a cottonmouth, I believe. I'll double check. So a water moccasin is one that can hurt you. It's venomous. So the king snake, what he did was he wrapped himself around that cottonmouth and he swallowed the other snake, the poisonous snake. Can you believe that? And my grandma says it took a really long time. Like, she called her dad that lived maybe 20 minutes away, so he had time to get out there and see this happen. So once the king snake was finished, he just slid off into the woods. So king snakes can also help you keep venomous snakes away from your house. So they're good guys to have around. But just remember, don't ever mess with a snake out in the wild, because you don't know what type it is. So to protect yourself, just leave it alone and let it go about its business. So I've always loved that story. So, and did you know that snakes can swim? They can. Wait, let me just double check to see. Yep, cottonmouth. This is one that lives in the swamps. And they're called that because their mouth looks really white, like cotton. So, yeah, and here's one of a snake swimming, and that's an alligator or a crocodile coming across it. So snakes know how to swim too. And look at this, he's blending in with his surroundings, so that's camouflage. So another safety tip that Miss Carrie learned from her great-grandmother was, if you're hiking in the woods, she said always look at the ground where you walk, because you want to make sure you're not going to accidentally walk on a snake or another creature in the woods. So that's another thing that I've always remembered. When you're in the woods, you want to look at the ground to make sure that you're not going to accidentally walk on one of these guys. Because most snakes, they're not going to come after you just to bite you. They do it because they're scared or they feel threatened. So that's why you want to leave them alone and watch where you walk. So this is another book that's called Snakes by Gail Gibbons. And it's got a section about some common snakes. So it's got your garter snakes, which are kind of like little snakes that get in your garden. Here's our friend the king snake. There's a vine snake. And this is the section about some venomous snakes. So there's rattlesnakes, which we have in the United States. And we also have cottonmouths, which are water moccasins, like I talked to you about. And we also have copperheads. So you do want to look out for those guys. These are some constrictor snakes. So that's like when we were in crafts, what I told you about with, they squeeze their prey to make them stop fighting them so that they can swallow them. So that's a little bit of information about our friends the snake. They're not something to really be afraid of. They're just something to be cautious about, like to be careful. Miss Carrie don't really care for them, but I know they've got their job to do. And I typically try to leave them alone when I see them and to watch where I walk and watch what I'm doing to make sure that I'm not going to accidentally scare them or make them feel threatened. So I hope you learned some things today, guys, and we'll have another animal of the week next week. I think it might be the horse, which is one of my favorites. I love horses. So I'm excited to share with you another different animal next week. So if you haven't signed up for summer reading yet, you can still do that. You can call the library or come by, or you can also sign up at arcpls.beanstack, BEANSTACK.org. Or you could give one of your libraries a call, or even better, come see us. So I'll see you again soon, guys. Bye-bye.